Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into another edition of Key Time Sports. It's Key Time coming back to talk about the Wednesday night slate of NBA games. There were some very intriguing games in the NBA last night. All of them had playoff implications. So, without further ado, I'm going to go and dive into the very first game that was on the docket last night, the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. So both of these teams, the Cavaliers and the Knicks, they are in one of the top, they are two of the top three teams in the Eastern Conference. Between the Cavaliers, they have clinched a playoff berth. Boston Celtics have clinched the playoff berth. New York Knicks have clinched the playoff berth. And the Indiana Pacers have clinched the playoff berth in the Eastern Conference currently as constructed. Now, let me get to this game from the New York Knicks perspective because I'm already seeing things from ESPN, Yahoo Sports, CBS Sports, NBC Sports, and every other sports news outlet sector out there. When it comes to the New York Knicks, first off, they have a good starting five, and I'm going to get into their starting five right now. Mikal Bridges, 8 points. OG Anunoby, 23 points. Karl Anthony Towns, 25 points. Josh Hart, 19 points. Dion Wright, 7 points. Starters. New York's bench production. Precious Achua, 13 points. Anton Watson, 0 points. Marjon Beauchamp, 4 points. Landry Shamet, 5 points. Tyler Kolek, 1 point. PJ Tucker, coach's decision, did not play. Mitchell Robinson did not play because of a left ankle injury. Now, the New York Knicks, they are at the third spot in the East right now, and the New York Knicks is an above average team. The reason why I say the New York Knicks are above average team because every team that is better than them, top notch teams in the NBA. And when I talk about top notch teams, I'm talking about Cleveland, Boston, let's see, in the West, Oklahoma, Houston, the Lakers, the Denver Nuggets, Minnesota Timberwolves, anybody that is a top notch team, the New York Knicks have lost against them every time this season. Teams, New York Knicks, they have played against 8 teams that have a 500 record or better. They have lost. They have lost 8 times. They played 8 games. They are 0-8. So what I am saying is I have no faith in the New York Knicks when it comes to them going further into the playoffs. Now, credit, they might get a first round series win, and even that is I'm on the fence about that right now because when you look at the New York Knicks as far as a team concerned, they don't emphasize bench production. They really don't. And you can see this from their starters. All of their starters last night at least had 30 minutes of action. Mikal Bridges, 36 minutes. OG Anunoby, 34 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns, 34 minutes. Josh Hart, 37 minutes. Dion Wright, 33 minutes. When it comes to the playoffs, you are going to have to preserve your starters and rely on your bench production more. And the New York Knicks, they are certainly not doing that. So, all you New York Knicks fans out there, Stephen A. Smith, the best case scenario for the Knicks is winning a first round series and getting knocked out in the second round. So, Stephen A. Smith, all you New York Knicks fans, y'all are going to have to wait at least one more year for a championship to come back to Madison Square Garden, the Mecca, MSG, Queens, New York City, NYC, whatever you want to call, whatever you want to give the city the nickname, you are going to have to wait. So let me get to the Cleveland Cavaliers now. Cleveland Cavaliers, from top to bottom, they are balanced because you can see when it comes to their scoring. Evan Mobley, 13 points. Jared Allen, 21 points. Darius Garland, 17 points. Donovan Mitchell, 27 points. Max Strus, 8 points. The bench production for the Cavaliers, pretty much balanced as always. Imani Bates, 3 points. Jalen Tyson, 0 points. Naquan Tomlin, 2 points. DeAndre Hunter, 16 points. Isaac Orko, 11 points. Sam Morrell, 5 points. Javonte Green, 0 points. Craig Porter Jr., 1 point. And Luke Travers, 0 points. Tristan Thompson, he didn't play because of coach's decision. So now, when we look at the Cavaliers now, they have been the top team in the East all season. But I'm still on the fence about the Cavaliers too. And I'm pretty sure everybody is saying, Key Time, why are you still on the fence? I'm going to tell you why I'm still on the fence about the Cavaliers. It's because in the past, the Cavaliers, without LeBron James, have failed to make it out of the second round. So let me tell you, second round, we know the Cavaliers can win in the first round because let me tell you now, if the season were to start, if the playoffs were to start today, they would be facing the winner of out of the Atlanta Hawks and Miami Heat for their first round playoff series. Now, either way, either team the Cavaliers play, they are going to win no matter what. But from what I see from the Cavaliers as team wise, it all hinges on playoff success because the last couple of years, Donovan Mitchell has been there. He's gotten the team to the playoffs, gotten them past the first round both years. But it seems like they have ran into the Celtics every time, and they haven't been able to get past the Celtics. So what I am saying is, and I've been saying this all season, is we expect the Cavaliers and the Celtics to be in the Eastern Conference Finals. We do. So now, back to last night's statistics. Cavaliers made more threes than the New York Knicks did. Free throw percentage, the Cavaliers were better. Total rebounds, +5 for the Cavaliers, 44 to 39. Offensive rebounds tied at 15 each. Defensive rebounds, +5 for the Cavaliers. Assists, +1 for the Knicks. Steals, +1 for the Cavaliers. Blocks, +3 for the Cavaliers. Turnovers, +3 for the New York Knicks. Both of these teams have had turnover-litis last night, and I'm going to tell this, and I'm saying this to both teams. Cavaliers, you got away with it last night, but the playoffs are about to start. And let me tell you, turnovers, they always going to hurt you. But in the playoffs, they are much more critical because every possession you have in the playoffs, no matter what sport, the possession is much bigger than a possession that you have in the regular season because in the playoffs, it's win or go home. Either you win, you move on, you lose, you go home. So, turnovers, Knicks, they need to work on taking care of the ball more, protecting the ball more, and the Cavaliers need to work on taking care of the ball more. Points off of turnovers. Knicks had 23 points off of turnovers. Cavaliers had 22 points off of turnovers. Fast break points, 14 points apiece. Points in the paint, +12 for the Cavaliers, 64-52. Fouls, 19 points plus 18 points. No, excuse me. Fouls 19 for the New York Knicks, 18 fouls for the Cleveland Cavaliers. The largest lead for both teams, the Knicks were 15 points, the Cavaliers were 21 points. So we all know that the New York Knicks are a team that's just above average. The Cavaliers, we don't know what we are going to get from them until the playoffs start. And that's all I have for the New York Knicks and the Cleveland Cavaliers. The next game I am going to cover is the Miami Heat versus the Boston Celtics. Now, Boston Celtics, we already know that they are getting ready for the playoffs. So I'm not gonna go in too much with them because they have the second spot. They have that already sold up. Nobody can go higher than second in the East right now, above the Boston Celtics. So now the Miami Heat right now, they are at the number 9th spot in the East. So they'll be playing, if the playoffs start today, they would be playing the Atlanta Hawks for the right to play the Cleveland Cavaliers in the Cleveland Cavaliers in the first round of the playoffs. So Miami Heat's starters last night and offense, they have pretty much went from Bam Adebayo had 21 points. Khalil Ware, 7 points. Tyler Hero, 25 points. Alec Burke, 10 points. Pelly Larson, 16 points. Those are the starters. Now, the starters for the Miami Heat have fallen flat on their face. They are not a team that, when you think of the Miami Heat, before all of this started, we all thought the Miami Heat was a team that could pretty much make a game look ugly, keep it close, and in the last 2 minutes of the fourth quarter or overtime, they would be able to win. But now, this season has been a season where Miami has lost 8 out of 9 games. Plus, this is their worst season since 2008. And plus, they don't have anybody as far as a cornerstone that can really take over games. Now, I know that Miami has Tyler Hero, but he can only do but so much. He can only play but so many minutes. Outside of him, you don't have any more legitimate scorers outside of, when it comes to the bench production for the Miami Heat. Haywood Highsmith, 10 points. Keyshawn Johnson, 0 points. Kyle Anderson, 19 points. Davion Mitchell, 13 points. Josh Christopher, 3 points. Isaiah Stevens, 0 points. And Jamie Jaquez Jr., 0 points. So, Miami Heat, Pat Riley, Mickey Arison, you're just going to have to take a back seat this year because you're not going to make it to the playoffs with this kind of team. You're not. And I'm even surprised that the Miami Heat have managed to put themselves in the play-in tournament conversation when it comes to going to the playoffs, because any other team, they would be just like one of those teams like the Charlotte Hornets. Have a few good players, but not able to make it to the playoffs. And that's what I see with the Miami Heat. But we all know that Miami Heat, they have heat culture, and in heat culture, nothing is impossible. That's what Pat Riley has preached over the years, and that's what the players they believe in, and they have the right to believe in that. And if I was the Miami Heat owner, I would want to have a person like Pat Riley in my organization telling my players that, look, the media and everybody has predicted us to lose this game. Let's go out here and prove them wrong. That's what I see. Now with the Boston Celtics, I'm just ready for the playoffs when it comes to the Boston Celtics. I really am. Jason Tatum, he played 32 minutes, 16 points. Sam Hauser had 6 points. Luke Cornett, 14 points. Derek White, 16 points. Jaylen Brown, 24 points. Bench production for the Boston Celtics. Drew Peterson, 3 points. Baylor Sherman, 3 points. Torrey Craig, 2 points. Namas Quetta, 7 points. Peyton Pritchard, 10 points. J.D. Davidson, 2 points. Jordan Walsh, 0 points. Xavier Tillman did not play because of coach's decision. Now, the Boston Celtics in this case, they are the second seed right now, and the Boston Celtics, they would be playing the winner of the Orlando Magic and the Chicago Bulls, because it's 7-10, 8-9 that play. So everybody has got the play-in tournament controls and stipulations and scheduling. The scheduling for the play-in tournament, it's not set yet, but those are the teams that will be playing each other. So the Celtics playoff start today. They would be playing the Orlando Magic or the Chicago Bulls. They have beaten both teams handily throughout the season, the few times that they have played. But one thing about the Boston Celtics, I am not concerned, because we all know where the Boston Celtics are going to be when it comes to the Eastern Conference Finals. So last night, here are the statistics for the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. Miami Heat made more three-pointers than the Boston Celtics, 14-12. Free throw percentage, Miami Heat had a better free throw percentage last night. Total rebounds, Boston Celtics out-rebounded the Miami Heat by 9. Offensive rebounds, the Celtics out-rebounded the Miami Heat by 8. The Celtics defensive rebounds, the Celtics +1. Assists +4 for the Miami Heat. Steals +6 for the Miami Heat. Blocks +4 for the Boston Celtics. Turnovers +8 for the Celtics. 13 turnovers to 5 turnovers. Now, that's one thing that keep Miami in these types of games, because they turn the ball over less. And when you don't have those dynamic players, your margin for error is almost like the size of a grain of salt. You have little to no margin for error because it is so small. And that's how the Miami Heat have been playing. And like I said, if the Miami Heat do make it to the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if they were able to get one game, because we all know with that lineup, they can get a gentleman's sweep. They won't get swept, but it'll be a gentleman's sweep, 4-1, whoever they play. So, points off of turnovers. Miami had 3 points off of turnovers. Celtics had 17 points off of turnovers. Fast break points, +8 for the Miami Heat. 14 points to 6 points for the Boston Celtics. Points in the paint, +6 for the Boston Celtics. 50-44. Fouls, 13 fouls for the Miami Heat, 17 fouls for the Boston Celtics. Technical fouls, 2 fouls for the Boston Celtics, 1 foul for the Miami Heat. Flagrant fouls, nobody had a flagrant foul. And the largest lead of the game for the Miami Heat was 22 points. And for the Celtics was 2 points. This is not a game that you want all for the Celtics, from the Celtics standpoint. This is not a game where you want all of your top guns because you are trying to get prepared for that long playoff run towards a potential repeat. So, congratulations to the Miami Heat. Your season is still alive. You are still hanging by a thread, and hopefully you are able to make it to the playoffs. So the next game I'm going to cover was a very entertaining game last night between the Atlanta Hawks and the Dallas Mavericks. We are going to go to the standings right now. The Atlanta Hawks are currently 8th in the Eastern Conference right now, and the Dallas Mavericks are 9th in the Western Conference right now. So this was a game that had playoff implications for both conferences, and this turned out to be a pretty entertaining game. You had Inake Inoku, 20 points, Zachary Rochester, 9 points, Muhammad Guai, 11 points, Trey Young, 25 points, Dyson Daniels, 17 points. Bench production for the Hawks: Dominic Barlow, 0 points, Georges Nigang, 6 points, Carius LeVert, 14 points, Terrence Mann, 5 points, Vic Karecki, 11 points, Garrison Matthews did not play, coach's decision, Dequan Powden, DNP, coach's decision. The Atlanta Hawks, they are that, like I said, they are one of those teams that have a young group and really haven't been able to get over the hump, and that's due to much superior competition. So the Dallas Mavericks still in the same boat, still have a young group with a couple of old guys. Anthony Davis, he had 34 points. Najee Marshall, 6 points. Derek Lively II, 4 points. Spencer Dinwiddie, 14 points. Klay Thompson, 7 points. Mavericks bench production: Kai Jones, 2 points. Caleb Martin, 8 points. Daniel Gifford, 11 points. Max Christie, 11 points. Jaden Hardy, 13 points. PJ Washington, DNP, illness. Dwight Powell, DNP, coach's decision. So last night, for the Dallas Mavericks in this case. Now the Dallas Mavericks, they put themselves in a better position last night, because when you see where they are at in the Western Conference and they have 6 games left, they are 2 games ahead of the Sacramento Kings for the 9th spot. And the Sacramento Kings, it seems like they are just pretty much packing it in for the season. They might get into the play-in tournament by default. And you also see the Dallas Mavericks, who pretty much 3 weeks ago, it seemed like they just threw in the towel on this season, but they are trying to make a late push for the play-in tournament, and I think that they'll be able to get it because they have 6 games left. 6 games. So 6 or 7 games left. So we are getting down to the nitty-gritty. So Dallas Mavericks, they have the best. They're not going to move anywhere in the standings, but they can increase that win margin from the Sacramento Kings, because right now it's just 2.5 games. If they win 3 more games, then they will solidify themselves as the 9th team in the West and they'll be able to go to the play-in tournament. Now, as far as for the Atlanta Hawks, they don't have much wiggle room because Miami Heat is breathing down their neck. They are on Miami Heat is only a game back of the Atlanta Hawks the for the ninth spot. Well, excuse me, for the eighth spot. Now, Atlanta, the nail is meeting the wall right now because between Atlanta and Chicago, it's only separating them by 2 games. Now, if the Chicago Bulls go on a little 3-4 game winning streak to end the season and the Atlanta Hawks lose 2 games, then the Atlanta Hawks would be at the 10th spot come April 9th. Come next week. But there's so many fluctualities and so many things that can happen between now and then. We are just going to have to wait and see. So that is all I have for the Atlanta Hawks and Dallas Mavericks game. The final game I am going to cover is the Detroit Pistons and the OKC Thunder. Now, Detroit Pistons, throughout the last couple of weeks, I have said the Detroit Pistons have been a team that has improved mightily since last year. And as you can see, Pistons right now in the 5th spot. They are making it to the playoffs no matter what. And to tell you the truth, I am happy for the Detroit Pistons fan base because it has been a while since the Detroit Pistons fan base have been proud to see something on the floor. Now, last night, they had a tough game with OKC Thunder, but let me tell you, everybody who has played the Thunder throughout this season has had a tough game against them. Now, when it comes to the Detroit Pistons, Tobias Harris, he had 10 points. Ausar Thompson, 13 points. Tim Hardaway Jr., 23 points. Jalen Duren, 13 points. Dennis Schroeder, 15 points. Simone Faccio, 6 points. Lindy Waters III, 3 points. Paul Reed, 9 points. Malik Beasley, 11 points. Tolu Smith, DNP coach's decision. Ronald Howland II, DNP suspended by the league. Bobby Klintman, DNP coach's decision. Isaiah Stewart, Marcus Sauser, both DNP suspended by the league. Dennis Jenkins, DNP coach's decision. So, now, the Detroit Pistons, pretty much what they are doing now, they are just getting ready for their first round playoff matchup between I'm going to say the Indiana Pacers, but the Pistons are only a game and only a half game up on the Milwaukee Bucks. So by the time I come into the show tomorrow, it could be something different. And by the time we start the show for next week, it could be something different. So I'm not going to say that it will be the Pacers and Pistons in the first round matchup of the Eastern Conference. I'm not going to say that. But last night, when it came to the Detroit Pistons, they are one of the youngest teams in the NBA. They are. So this playoff experiment for them will be great in the long run. And as far as for the OKC Thunder, they are a fine-tuned, well-oiled scoring machine because when you look top to bottom, the Oklahoma City Thunder are they have a balanced starting lineup. Look at this. Chet Holmgren, 22 points. Jalen Williams, 23 points. Shea Gildress-Alexander, 33 points. Luguentz Dort, 14 points. Cason Wallace, 13 points. The bench production for the Oklahoma City Thunder: Adam Flagler, 0 points. Dylan Jones, 0 points. Kendrick Williams, 4 points. Isaiah Hartenstein, 5 points. Brandon Carlson, 0 points. Isaiah Joe, 5 points. Jalen Williams, Jalen Williams, DNP sprained ankle. Alex Caruso, DNP sore ankle. Did not play much. So, as far as statistics concerned for this game, the Thunder, they made the same amount of 3-pointers, but one thing that got them, reason why the Thunder were able to win this game, it wasn't because of 3-point shooting. It was one thing because of free throw shooting, and as far as not turning the ball over as much as the Detroit Pistons did. Now, Detroit Pistons had 19 turnovers, and now the Detroit Pistons, they are going to learn very fast that turnovers will hurt you in a playoff series. The OKC Thunder, 10 turnovers, that's pretty much their season average. They are not a team that turns the ball over much. Now, points off of turnovers. Pistons had 20 points off of turnovers. The Thunder had 11 points off of turnovers. Fast break points, 16 points off of turnovers. Also, 12 points. Thunder had 12 points off of turnovers. Fast points in the paint, plus 12 for the OKC Thunder, 58 points. 46 points for the Pistons as far as total points in the paint. Total points in the paint. Fouls, 25 fouls for the Pistons, 19 fouls for the OKC Thunder. Largest lead for the OKC Thunder in this game was 17 points. The largest lead for the Pistons was 2 points. So now for my final take for all of the teams that I have covered is that all of these teams that I've covered throughout this show are going to make the playoffs. Now, do any of these teams have an advantage over the other? Like I said, in the playoffs, it's all about matchups. It really is. It's all about matchups. Now the next few days are going to be interesting because you have teams from the East playing against teams from the West, and standings and playoff seeding is on the line. The NBA playoffs are starting to heat up. Now, not next week, but the week after next, that is when the official playoff schedule will come out, and right now it seems like everything is squaring up for the top 10 teams in the East and the top 10 teams in the West. So those lower ranked teams, we got to get them out of there as soon as possible. So I don't see the Chicago Bulls going anywhere. So they might have one play-in tournament game and then lose. For the Sacramento Kings, I don't see them going anywhere. So they might be in the same boat as the Chicago Bulls, have one play-in tournament game and be home. Dallas can pretty much, Anthony Davis having the right playing the right game, Dallas could pretty much, make it interesting, but I don't see them going anywhere. Miami Heat also can make it interesting. Don't see them going anywhere. The Memphis Grizzlies, on January 13th, they were top. They were they were at the second spot in the West. Now they are at the eighth spot and just fighting to stay alive in the play-in tournament. You all know how I feel about the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that's just full of hype. The Atlanta Hawks, also a team that is pretty much average, but you can't really expect them to beat those higher ranked teams like Boston, New York, or Cleveland. Or they might even have trouble with the Indiana Pacers for that matter. But outside of that, the next few days in the NBA is going to be interesting. And also tonight, excuse me, also tonight, there's only one marquee matchup, and I know a lot of people they are going to look at that game. And also that game, and I do believe, let's see, I do believe that game has playoff implications on it. Now, let's see. Now, the only game that has playoff implications tonight is the Golden State Warriors and the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, everybody else that is on the Thursday night slate, they're really not playing against anybody. I mean, Orlando, Washington, who's really going to talk about that game tomorrow morning? Milwaukee, Philadelphia, not going to talk about that game. Minnesota should beat Brooklyn. Memphis should beat Miami. Portland and Toronto, two teams that are not going to make the playoffs. Now, tonight's game, Golden State and the Los Angeles Lakers, that is the game. That's the marquee game for tonight. So outside of that, nothing else happening in the NBA. And with that, those are my reactions to the Wednesday night slate of games in the NBA. And before I leave, here is the updated standings chart for both the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference in the NBA. This is the last few days of the NBA season. See, this is what I like as a basketball fan. You already know who's mainly going to be in the playoffs, but a win here or there may help out a team with home court advantage in the first round of the playoffs, or it might not. Who knows? But that is the that is the privilege of being a journalist like myself, and for you NBA spectators and fans who watch the game on a daily basis. So, with that, those are my reactions to the Wednesday night slate of NBA games. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell to get notified of all of my reaction videos, shows, and other content. We are doing an expansion over here on YouTube, and we are doing an expansion over on Key City Sports. Now, follow Key Time Sports on YouTube and follow Key City Sports on YouTube. I want to thank everybody who watches both of my shows on a daily basis. I cannot thank you enough. Viewership is amazing on both platforms, and we are just going to expand our reach. That's all, because there are a lot of people that do not understand what is going on when it comes to these many different rules. Also, I am keeping a bird's eye view on these NFL rules, and I'm going to get into that a little bit later on this month when all the rules are set in stone. Now, I hear that they want to ban the tush push. Me, I don't think that it should be banned, but I'm going to save that for another show. And remember, everybody, one last thing, that the key is always on time.